That concludes this Music to Camera sampler. We hope you enjoyed this program as much as we did. All 6 musical selections were by Minnesota composers. If you'd like to have one of these selections repeated on a future sampler, or just make a comment on our program, call us at 533-1710. I'm Frederick Blanche. Goodbye. Good listening.
The following weekly program, And Now You Are Aware, is a finalist in the 1994 Minnesota Community Television Awards Cultural Diversity category.
Hello, I'm Mark Greenstein, your host for And Now You Are Aware, produced by B'nai B'rith, Ira Weil, Jeffrey Lodge. This week we have with us Cantor Kula, Adath Cantor, who has served the Jewish community for 19 years at Adath. Cantor, welcome to our show.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
We're going to talk a little about the different musics that are in America and different parts of the world, as well as what it takes to be a cantor. Before we get into the music, first of all, you had to figure out, when did you want to be a cantor?
I guess that I wanted to be a cantor since I was a child, because I started singing when I was 9 years old in cantorial choirs with cantors at that time. And then when my voice changed and I became an adult, I continued to study and became a cantor. I wanted to combine my music interest and Judaic interest, and that's the way I got to be a cantor.
Do you have to have a good voice to be a cantor, or is part of being a cantor part of being just a good singer as well as the Jewish religion?
You have to have a good voice. You have to be able to sing. You have to have a Jewish knowledge, and you have to know liturgy, which is the prayers of the Siddur, of the prayer book, all around kind of knowledge of all kinds in order to be a successful cantor.
Cantors right now, we have a new one at Adath going to be coming. His name is going to be Scott Buckner, and he's obviously rather young in comparison to yourself. What bit of information you have for people that want to be a cantor, or maybe they're coming from a little synagogue to a big synagogue?
Well, today, at one time, the way you became a cantor, or I guess any field, you apprenticed with someone who was in the field. And then about 40 years ago or so, schools began to established for the cantorate. And in fact, I was the graduate of the Cantor's Institute in the first graduating class at the Jewish Theological Seminary. And so today, people, if they want to be a cantor, study music, are interested in Judaica, and go to the cantorial schools that are available in this country. And Cantor Buckner is a graduate also of the Cantor's Institute, a little later than me. And so I'm glad that he's coming, because he will continue the cantoral position at Adath Jeshuruan, which has a good history, by the way, of having very good cantors throughout their history.
When you came to Adath Jeshuruan about 20 years ago, you brought in some new ideas. Cantor Amsel had his ideas, you brought in yours. Explain how you took your ideas and took your ideas and implemented to the synagogue, where the congregation was very used to Amsel. How does that, how do you go about that, doing that?
All right, I think each cantor that comes in brings in their own interests, their own strength, and their own personality. And when I came, I brought some more of participation, getting young people involved from bar mitzvah age on, or even before, and bringing new melodies to the synagogue. I taught a lot of new melodies, and that doesn't mean that I discarded the old ones, so we kind of interchange now. And so each cantor, and probably Cantor Buckner, will bring his own melodies, and we'll just add to the others. It's not a kind of discarding, but adding new personality to it.
Okay. On a while back, you took a trip to Europe, going through different parts of Europe with Jewish music, Jewish literature, and Jewish different types of tunes. Talk a little bit. We got a picture here, and you got some songs you like to sing. Let's talk a little about the picture.
Okay. The picture was the final stage of my sabbatical. This was in Rome, Italy, where I found a private citizen, Jewish person, who had collected for 40 years Jewish music of every single Jewish Italian community. Some of these communities do not exist anymore, so it is very valuable what this man did. It's not cataloged, so he gave me permission to come back and to catalog all this music. When I visited him, he was very friendly and amenable for me to come back and do this work so it won't be lost. This was part of my sabbatical. I had a sabbatical for 4 months, and I decided to travel through southern France and Italy and collect music and interview people of communities that are kind of dwindling since the Holocaust Jewish communities have kind of dwindled or disappeared in a lot of cities. So I went and through connections, I met different people, I collected music, I recorded music, I interviewed people, and then I found this man, of course, which was the final thing. I mean, this was the greatest find of all, to have this, because no one knows about this. This man just did it because as a hobby. His father, this man, Mr. Pacifice, his father was the chief rabbi of Genoa, and he got killed in the Holocaust. So after that, this man decided that just as a hobby and to memorialize his father, he was going to collect the music of every single synagogue in Italy. And that's what he did for over 40 years. And I was fortunate enough to find it and to have permission again to come back now with a grant to catalog this and listen to it and maybe for other cantors to use.
Earlier we were talking a little bit about the various types of tunes that are in America, other parts of the world, and you're going to sing a little bit of different tunes, maybe give a little bit of differences between ours and somewhere in Europe.
Mm-hmm. One of the communities that I went to was Florence, which is dwindling totally. They have a beautiful, beautiful old synagogue, and it's practically not used because there are very few Jews there. But they published the music that was used in Florence, and it's a little different than what we use in America, because this is kind of Italian background. And I just want to do one little number here for you, the hymn Enkel Eloheinu, which is sung every Shabbat. And there are many, many tunes for Enkel Eloheinu. This one was used in the Florence synagogue, and it goes like this. Enkel Eloheinu, Enkel Adonenu, Enkel Malkeinu, Enkel Moshienu. Very Italian-like, and it was very, very beautiful tune. That's one of the tunes. There are many, many tunes at all the different synagogues that I went to. I went to Venice, where there are practically no Jews and no services almost. And in Florence, I did find this book. So this is one of the tunes. There are many other tunes that are sung throughout, and I did collect some of this music also, and I have to go through my own music now and put it into notes and catalog it and work on it.
Okay. You mentioned about those songs. What about tone notes? How do tone notes vary?
Okay.
How tone notes, master notes, something a lot of us are familiar with.
Right. The tropal signs, the musical signs, are the same for all Jews all over the world, but the signs have different melodies coming from different places. We use Eastern European Ashkenazi kind of tune, and Italians have a different tune. Sephardi of Greece have a different tune. Each one is different, and you have to learn all those different ones. We at Adath use the kind of Eastern European, Polish, Russian combination because that's where our background comes from. But if you go to a Italian synagogue, you will hear different ones. If you go to a Yemenite synagogue, you will find different kinds and so forth. So it's very interesting to go and travel, by the way, to different synagogues and to listen to them. I don't know all of them because each one is different and each one has their own way of studying and doing things.
Okay, before we go to the music done by the Adath choir, I want to ask you, what various types of synagogues did you go to that just really stood out in your mind?
Good question. I went to Paris, and there I went to an Ashkenazi synagogue, so it was no different than here. But then, when I went to Nice, which is southern France, I went to an Algerian synagogue, which was totally different. These people, these Jewish people, came from North Africa and settled in Nice when those colonies became free out of France. Then the Jews left and went to Nice, and they settled there. And it's a different kind of service, very, very Sephardi, and different tunes, but really beautiful and gorgeous. So I went to Nice, and there was one. In Rome, the Roman synagogue is totally different than even the Nice synagogue. So wherever you went, there was a little difference, and it was very interesting to listen to all of them and to participate with them. The prayers were the same, the Siddur was the same, but the melodies were different, influenced by where these Jews lived. They were always influenced by the outside, how things sounded in the Arabic countries, so it sounds Arabic. If they were from the Spain Sephardi, it sounded that way. The tune that I just sang from Florence sounded very Italian. So those are the different things, and I think people should travel around and go to different synagogues and see that there are differences, even among Jews who are all the same. And yet there is a sameness too, because we're all Jews and we all have the same prayers, which is fascinating.
Curacao, which is in the Caribbean, is known for one of the oldest synagogues, I believe, in the Western Hemisphere, which
That's true.
I even saw.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been to the Caribbean synagogues, or have you done much music in the Caribbean?
No, I haven't, but I heard that it's a kind of a combination Sephardi Ashkenazi, depending on what kind of crowd comes there at a particular time and who leads the service. They have a combination of things. It must have been very interesting for you.
Mm-hmm. It was. I want to have everybody here who's watching our show listen to a song done by you, yourself, and the Adath Choir,
Right.
conducted by Marla Fitterman,
That's
I
right.
believe. Let's hear it, and it's called Sim Shalom.
It's the Sim Shalom, which is a favorite of the Adath community. And we always do it, and it's very nostalgic because I'm retiring. And the Sim Shalom, which speaks about peace, is a very good topic, first of all, and it's something that the people love very much.
And I also want to note that it's one of my mom's favorite songs.
Good.
And being I'm her son, I can plug that in for
Right.
my mom. She wanted me to make sure I told you that's her
Good.
favorite song. Let's hear the song. That was a very beautiful song.
Thank you.
What does the song mean besides Song of Peace, but there's more to it than just that?
Well, it speaks about wanting peace in the world, and that if peace comes, there will be blessing for everyone, and it will be good for this world.
When is the song used in the service?
It's used at every service because peace is so important, a commodity for the world, that whenever we have services, we ask for peace.
Okay. I've got a few minutes here. Let's talk a little about your future. Again, you're retiring after 19 years of Adath, but you've been Cantor for 45 years.
That's right.
Explain, when you first got into Cantorial 45 years ago, looking back, did you ever think you'd be in Cantor for 45 years, or was this your ultimate goal to be a Cantor for 45 years, or what was your goal looking up and now looking back?
When you start, you never know, really, but I've had, thank God, a beautiful career. I've been to actually 2 congregations only, which is very good. I've been in congregations like Adath. The other congregation was also like Adath, where we could do good music, and the people appreciated it, and they liked what I did. And so the career just continued, and we just were creative all the time, and the people wanted that. So it worked out both ways.
With women now entering the Cantorial as well as men, is there a future for women and men to be cantors for 45 years looking up, or 20 years, or what do you think the future will hold?
Women getting into the cantorate is something that's happening, and I think it's a good thing, at least for the conservative movement. I'm speaking not for any other group, because that's where I come from. I've heard some of the graduates of the Cantors Institute who are very, very good, and if they continue to be creative and go along with the flow of change too, there's always change, because I've changed probably in 45 years, then they can have a good career.
Okay. Now that you're going to be in Florida, in the warm, sunny Florida, and when it's cold up here, I'm sure we'll be thinking of you probably more than you'll be thinking of us, especially when it's we got to walk the synagogue in our boots and everything. Explain why you're moving to Florida.
I'm moving to Florida because, first of all, I like the warm weather, and 3 of my 6 sons are going to be there, living there, so we'll be close to family, and so that's why we're moving there, and I have things that I would like to do there also. One of my sons is a cantor, so we will do concerts together. I'm going to be teaching a little bit, lecturing on Jewish music, doing things at my own pace and schedule, so I can tutor other cantors, give advice, and I also plan to come back here because I'm not severing my relations. I've been here 19 years, as you said, so we have friends here, and there'll be programs here. Adath is building a new synagogue. I hope to be back for the new synagogue when it opens up, if I'm invited.
I'm sure you'll be.
And do some work for the JCC concert. And I used to volunteer for Menorah Plaza and Shalom Home, and that was very rewarding for, to do things for those people. And I hope to come back and do some of that work here.
With the with the concerts that you give, you started the Tamid concert, and you're going to be giving concerts down in Florida.
Yes.
What type of music do you like singing the most? Like the Sim Shalom, very slow moving, or do you like singing like the Hava Nagilas, where they're really up and moving? What types of music is your favorite to sing?
I kind of sing everything because I like to give a contrast to either the service or a concert or whatever I do. Contrast is the best thing to keep interest for everyone. So I do all kinds of stuff, all kinds of music. I do Yiddish music, I do Ladino music, which is the Sephardi language. I do Israeli music and synagogue music, and I've even done some Schubert and opera.
Okay. One more question I want to ask you. I'm young, and a lot of the congregations, people in a new building are obviously young. What advice do you have towards me, towards the young generation, while looking towards retirement?
Well, get ready early. It takes a long time. It takes 3 to 4 years to get ready for retirement, so it'll get smooth. First of all, before you think of retirement, think of what you're doing and try to accomplish some things before you do. I think that's what I try to do all the time. So you'll be satisfied and you'll have satisfaction in what you've done throughout a lifetime. So when you retire, you'll say, I think I've accomplished something. So that's very important, to do some things that will add to society. And you'll get a great kick out of that, because if you see others enjoying it, you'll enjoy it too. So that's the first thing. While you're working, don't think of retirement. Do a good job in what you're doing and enjoy what you're doing. I've enjoyed the 45 years that I've been in it. So that's the first thing. And then I think we have to change the word retirement anyhow, because you're not retiring and doing nothing. When you retire, you want to prepare yourself also to do some things and be busy. It's very important to do that, and that's what I've tried to do. I'm going to do concerts, research, lecturing, whatever I do. The only difference is you do it at your own pace at that time.
Sort of like free time.
Free time, but you've got to be busy. So just don't think of just,
Soap
doing
operas
nothing.
and watching game shows and all this.
Right, but do some interesting things. So that keeps your mind going, which is very important. And do some exercise.
Well, down in Florida, we get plenty of exercise on the beaches and walking around.
Right.
I'd like to put the phone number if there's anybody have questions or concerns about the Cantors, or maybe they want to get music that you have. The number is 545-2424, 545-2424. Again, if you have any questions for Cantor Kula, leave your name and number, and they'll be more than glad to send him the information down in Florida, and he'll be more than glad to follow it up with you. Again, I'd like to thank you very much for coming to our show.
Thank you.
You're the one that bar mitzvah'd me, and here we are, we're on a talk show and everything, so I'm very lucky to have you. And we're out of time.
It's a pleasure.
This is your host, Mark Greenstein, for this week's production of And Now You Are Aware. I'd like to thank my guest, again, Cantor Kula, and our help for helping us today. If you have any questions, please do give us a call at 533-1710. 533-1710. We appreciate your comments about our program. Please do give us a call. Again, this is your host, Mark Greenstein, produced by B'nai B'rith, Ira, Weil, Jeffrey Lodge. And now you are aware.